Hello and welcome to the January 9th budgeting session of 2021. My name is Keith and I'm going to be taking you through our budget. So right now my wife is staying home with their young child, so it's just my income. And you can see my bi-weekly deposit at the top of the screen. I get paid hourly plus commission, so it does vary. This paycheck is smaller than my average, and then my next check should hopefully be a little bit larger than the average based on the pipeline. But it's somewhere here in the 900s, no matter what. So what we do is, since I get paid bi-weekly, we calculated everything net or after tax to work on just 2 paychecks. Now, it is true that there are magic months where that's 2 different months where I get a third paycheck. And what we'll do with that is we'll put the money towards groceries and gas and things that we use up on a weekly basis. But at that time, the mortgage and insurance and that is already paid up for the month. So that means we just have a little bit of extra money to look forward to. And we just decide to just wait until that time to see what we're going to do with it, whether we invest it, save it, or spend it. So the app is YNAB. You need a budget. It's a paid app, but there's a great free trial, and we used the free trial before we decided to spend the money on it. But since then, our finances have greatly improved. We got started on this app in November of 2019, and since then, we've paid off all of our credit card debt, and we paid off our car loan, and we even paid off some medical debt. So we're now debt-free except for the mortgage. So let me take you through the budget. This is what I do every 2 weeks. And so let's get started. So what we have here is the needs, starting with food. We used to have just one envelope for food that would take us 2 weeks, but we spent it all the first week. So we now have 2 weeks in 2 different envelopes. So for the first one, the green one, that starts on Friday and it goes through Thursday. And then on the Friday, the non-payday Friday, we then go to the red apple folder there, or category or envelope, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and you can see that the green envelope is it's negative right now, negative $51.91 at the top of the screen. That's because we went shopping this morning before we did this video. So we are going to put 110 in that, and that will turn that negative back to a positive. You can see the one with the red apple is $5.47. That's a carryover from the prior pay period. So we have the needs variable. They're variable because they're not exactly the same amounts of money every month. Below that are another set of needs. These needs are more fixed. The mortgage is always the same every single month. And as you go down the list, you can see things like insurance, taxes, all adulting type things. We have $129 per check, $58 per check. Well, we have several different things lumped in there. So I'm not going to go into detail on this video. I'll do it on another video. But we have car insurance, we have condo insurance, we have life insurance. So all that is lumped together. We took the total for the year, divided it by 24. So we go down there, and then at the bottom, power, cellular, and internet are I just pay those in one lump sum, and I make sure they're paid before payday. The wants are down here at the bottom. Again, it's limited income right now with just one income. So they're very, very meager wants, but at least our needs are being met, and that's the important thing. The investments, there's no money in these categories. We're not focusing on that right now because we're just focusing on raising our child and doing one income. But if we had higher income, we would be putting money into the investment categories each month, and that money would go up, and then it would go down as it would disappear off of the screen as it's deposited into those brokerage accounts. Down at the bottom is our savings account. Our savings account is a physical savings account with our bank, but we subdivided it into 2 different categories: an emergency savings, which is currently at $49.86. You can see we put in $1,800 a few days ago, and that's thanks to the second COVID-19 stimulus package. So thank you to the congressmen and women and to President Donald Trump. The car replacement savings fund, we haven't got there yet. If we ever sell our car, we put the money there for the next car. And then the credit cards are at 0. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So you can see at the top of the screen, I have $924.78 that I'm going to budget or categorize, if you will. In my mind, I'm kind of spending it on the budget app before we ever spend it in real life. So I'm going to go to the first category, and I'm going to tap that, and I'm going to hit the plus sign. I always hit the plus sign. It just makes it smoother to get in the habit to always do the plus sign. If you don't do the plus sign, then it will overwrite whatever's in that category, which right now it's 0, but when I do this in 2 weeks, there will be numbers from this last time. So if I always use the plus sign, that makes it a little bit easier for me to remember not to overwrite the number. How much is going in there? 110. These numbers are always fluctuating. We actually first created it in Excel, and then we still have it in Excel actually, but we keep the dollar amount in the description for each of these. So we'll do that. We'll do another 110 right here. I always like to start with the food first because that's the most important. Supplements, $12 a paycheck. And you can see the number going down right up there. Actually, what I usually do first is I go and I take care of the mortgage. So let me show you what's going on with the mortgage down here. If you see here, the numbers on the right are empty, meaning the money is spent, but the money was already budgeted for January, and it was spent on the 1st. So the mortgage and the condo come out on the 1st of each month. And these numbers were actually put in December. So what I do every month is I go up to the top, I click that blue arrow, I click on the next month, whatever the next month is, and I go to the condo dues, and I go to the mortgage. And since my check is smaller than the next one, I'm going to do the smaller number, which is the condo dues today, and I'm going to do my plus 225. And in that way, I'm prepaying for that. It turned green because it hit the target number. And then the next paycheck, I'm going to do the mortgage for February, and then we're all set. So right now, those are the only two that I'm prepaying in You Need a Budget. So we got that prepaid. I'm going to go back, and you can see again, my green number at the top has shrunk again. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip around just a little bit, and I'm going to go down from past the needs variable. I'm going to go to the needs fixed. These are ones we can't touch, and we have to pay these. So the mortgage and condo we know is already done from the month prior, and I'm going to fill all these numbers in. You can see these are pretty big numbers, so it's really important to me that I do this at the beginning of the budget process so I don't ever skip one of these. All right, and we live near an airport, so there's a jet taking off. Okay, so we got all those numbers in there, and then we have, well, this is a little tricky. So normally what happens is these power, cellular, and internet, they're spread out enough so that normally some will be on one paycheck and some will be on the other. But my next paycheck is the 22nd, so we have a bit of a problem here. Normally I can just do one power bill and one cell and then the internet next time, but I'm going to have to fund all these right now because I get paid on the 22nd. So let's fund these. 82 is our average right there. And it turned green because that's the goal. And cellular 80 as well. And there it goes again. Love the green. And we're going to go to the next one. You know, our internet was 80, and my wife called and said we were going to switch to the competitor. And they said, go for it. And then we actually called back and said to cancel the service. And they said, okay, hang on. We'll give you a $20 discount for 12 months. So that's what happened with that. So just food for thought. So there's that. So now we got all that, and oh boy, look at the top. I got $15 to go. I got to do all these wants, and I got to do some of these needs up here, the variable needs. So again, we already spent the $18 this morning just before the video. So I'm going to just stick, well, I don't even have enough to cover because I have an $18 deficit, and I have a $15 left over to cover all these different envelopes. So again, what hurt me here was having the bills bunched up in the pay cycle and then also having a smaller check. So the only way we can really work with this is to take the money back from February. So what I'm going to do is let me see if I go back to condo. So this is the real world, folks. This is the real world. This is a real budget, the one we actually use. Let's take the condo dues and let's just cut that in half. So let's do one. We'll take out 100. Let's just take out 112. And what that did was it put 109 to spend back up at the top. And you can see here my condo dues, well, at least I got them half paid off for next month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to January, spend that 19, And now when I come back to my second paycheck, well, my power's paid for, my cell's paid for, my internet's paid for. So then what I'm going to do is go back to that February number, finish filling in, make sure that mortgage and that condo are prepaid because I need that money for the first, because there won't be any checks until after the first, right? So that's what we're going to do. So I got 127 left here. And let's see, so we're going to go back up and let's see if we can get these knocked out. So we need, with the young child, we need all the money we can get for households. We'll do plus $50 there, and you can see that the 50 counteracts the $18 over budget. And there we go. We have $31 left to go on household. And I'm going to skip around a little bit. I definitely need to do gas. It's very important. Don't want to run out of gas. And we have $52. And I got dry cleaning that I'm going to be picking up, so I'm going to make sure I do all the $20 in that this cycle. And you see 32. It's like we're just getting closer and closer and closer to the finish line. Sometimes that's a little bit nerve-wracking. And again, I'm not going to have enough money to cover all these envelopes or categories, whatever you want to call them. So I'm just going to kind of look through them. My wife cuts my hair, so I don't need to worry about that. Home improvement can weigh. So let's just put the $30 towards the car maintenance, because that's one we definitely want to keep up with. And we have $2.78 left. Okay, take your pick. So we got all these funded. So the next one on my list would be home improvement. We'll just put that there, 278, and we hit enter. And now we're at zero. So it's a zero-based budget. We spent every dollar, every cent from this paycheck right now on the app. And again, when we go out to the store or we want to buy some new piece of clothing, what we always do first is we look at those little bubbles on the right-hand side. And if the money's there in that category, well, there you go. We can spend it. But if it's not, well, it's something we really have to ask, do we really need this thing? And do we really need this right now? Maybe we can just wait till the next paycheck when the envelopes or the categories, whatever you call them, refill. We call them envelopes because that's what Dave Ramsey calls them. But that is it. You see down at the bottom, medical, dental, vision. There's some cash left over from last year, but we have an HSA, health savings account, that we took advantage of. So we actually have our money going in before taxes. So you don't see it on here. So we have a HSA debit card separate from any of this, and we don't track it in here. It's too much to track on here. With this app, all we're really doing is tracking our checking account and our savings account and our credit card, which is a zero balance, and that's it. We don't worry about retirement accounts or anything else in here. All right, we covered a lot. And like I said, this is a real budget. Thanks for going through it with me. I really appreciate it. My name's Keith. This is real. This is our real budget. We live in Central Florida, and these are real numbers. Could it be any tighter? It'd be hard to imagine. It's a super tight budget, but before we use this app, we would see money in our savings or checking and we'd spend it. But now that we have it broken down into these different categories, we're doing much, much better. And like I said, when we got that stimulus, there it is. It's right there. We saved all of it. Our goal is to get to $10,000 as soon as possible. And again, if you're a You Need a Budget fan, a lot of people will put this into different months ahead of time. We're just trying to get to 10,000. We're trying to keep it all in one pile so we can keep an eye on it. And then we'll start working ahead on those envelopes. If you guys have any questions or suggestions or comments or questions, anything like that, just comment in the YouTube comments or wherever you see this video, and we'll be happy to reply. So again, thank you so much. Be well, and we'll see you folks in 2 weeks.